Have you ever opened your refrigerator with pride, believing that everything was clean and fresh? The majority of us do. After all, we learned that the refrigerator prolongs the shelf life, safety, and flavor of our food. But what if I told you that some of the most popular items in your refrigerator, things you most likely consume every week, are really getting less nutritious and flavorful, and in some circumstances even dangerous? We're discussing something you might not anticipate today: 10 common foods that you should never keep in the fridge. Yes, you heard correctly, foods that must never be refrigerated. The refrigerator is not the right place for them, according to both science and experience, not because it's trendy advice. Why does this become more significant as we age? Since tastes vary, maintaining the nutrients in our food becomes more crucial than ever as our digestion becomes more sensitive, particularly if we're dealing with conditions like diabetes, high blood pressure, or digestive disorders. This isn't a lecture though, so don't worry, we are having a friendly talk, much like buddies conversing in the kitchen. I'll go over each food with you, explain its purpose in simple terms, and provide you with easy-to-follow storage tips. You might be surprised by some of these. Oh, I've been doing it for years, some may even make you say, it's all right. Together, we are all learning. Get a cup of tea, settle in, and let's learn how to maintain the health, happiness, and taste of both our food and ourselves. Are you ready? Let's get started. First food, potatoes. First, let's talk about something that practically every kitchen possesses: potatoes. You can mash, bake, roast, or anything else. We all adore these comfort foods. However, keeping them in the refrigerator is a silent error that many people make without even realizing it. Something weird happens within potatoes when they are exposed to freezing temperatures. The natural starches start converting to sugar too quickly. Because of this, the flavor is strangely sweet and the texture is grainy. It's definitely not what you want in your French fries or mashed potatoes. The larger issue, though, is this: a substance known as acrylamide may be produced when those sweet potatoes are cooked, particularly when heated to high temperatures. Its possible connection to specific tumors has been investigated. Although a single dish of crispy fries is not inherently harmful, it serves as a helpful reminder that food storage is more important than we may realize. Additionally, potatoes dislike moisture, and freezers are damp environments. They become mushy, spoil more quickly, or even smell bad because of that moisture. What is the superior method then? Store them in a dry, dark, and cool area such as a cellar, pantry, or cupboard. Additionally, avoid trapping them in plastic bags. To allow them to breathe, use a mesh sack, paper bag, or even a basket. Keep them away from onions as well. Onions emit a gas that can accelerate the sprouting or rotting of potatoes. Easy tip, significant impact: keep your potatoes how you like them and don't put them in the refrigerator. Comforting, nutritious, and hearty. The second food, tomatoes. Let's now discuss tomatoes. Perhaps you add them to salads or slice them for sandwiches. Although you may believe that the refrigerator keeps them fresh, it actually detracts from their flavor. Fruits that are delicate include tomatoes. The natural process that ripens them and gives them that sweet, juicy flavor is stopped by the cold air in the refrigerator. Rather, you get a tomato that is a little lifeless, mealy, and bland. At first you may not notice, but eventually you will begin to question why they no longer taste the same. The solution? The refrigerator. Lycopene, a naturally occurring antioxidant in tomatoes that promotes heart health and may cut the risk of cancer, is likewise reduced in colder climates. That's another reason we want to maximize our nutrient intake with every food, especially as we age. Instead, how should tomatoes be stored? Store them at room temperature on the counter. If possible, arrange them stem side down. This prolongs their lifespan by slowing down moisture loss. Additionally, give them a few days if they're still a little firm. On their own, they will mature beautifully. A tomato should only be placed in the refrigerator when it is completely ripe and you are unable to consume it immediately. But before eating, don't forget to return it to room temperature. You'll regain some of the texture and flavor you've been lacking. Tomatoes should be juicy, flavorful, and vibrant, similar to the meals we have with the people we care about. The third food, onions. Onions come next. Almost any recipe benefits from their depth and taste, but they shouldn't be kept in the fridge. Here's why. Natural sugars and carbohydrates abound in onions. These sugars become more active when kept in wet, cold environments, such as a refrigerator. The outcome? Your onion's flavor changes, and it becomes soft, even slimy. It may get overly sweet, or worse, mold may begin to grow. Then there is the odor. Onions are well known for their pungent scent. The scent doesn't only remain in the onion when you store them in the refrigerator. It can infiltrate your milk, fruit, and butter. No one enjoys yogurt that smells like onions. The answer is straightforward. Store whole onions somewhere cold, dry, and well ventilated. Steer clear of plastic bags. They retain moisture. Use a mesh net, paper bag, or basket that allows air to circulate instead. Additionally, avoid putting onions near potatoes. Although it may seem appealing to store them together, onions deteriorate more quickly due to the gases released by potatoes. It resembles a small, unseen conflict between two common culinary items. Now, the refrigerator is fine if you have previously peeled or chopped an onion. You keep odors contained and everything else safe. Make sure you carefully wrap it in plastic or place it in an airtight container. Cooking isn't the only benefit of storing onions properly. It enhances the flavor of your food and keeps your kitchen fresher. The fourth food, garlic. There's more to garlic than just taste. It's customary. Garlic is frequently the main ingredient when cooking pasta, roasting vegetables, or preparing Sunday supper. However, is there garlic in the refrigerator? A bad pair. Garlic tends to sprout when stored in a chilly environment. The bitter green stalks that emerge from the cloves will be visible to you. They alter the flavor, and not in a positive manner. Additionally, the cold promotes moisture, which can result in softness, mold, and even spoiling. Garlic should be bold and dry. That is removed by the refrigerator. Additionally, it causes garlic to absorb food odors. Therefore, your garlic can taste like leftovers from yesterday. What is the greatest method for preserving the freshness of garlic? Allow it to breathe. Whole garlic bulbs should be kept in a dry, well-ventilated place. An open basket or mesh bag is ideal. There's no reason to cover it. In actuality, airflow is your garlic's best friend. When utilizing individual cloves after breaking the bulb, aim to use them within a few days. Garlic that has been chopped or crushed in advance can be kept in the refrigerator for a short time, but only if it is firmly wrapped. And take extra caution if you ever want to preserve garlic in oil. To prevent bacteria, it must be used within a week after being chilled. Garlic adds a powerful, familiar kick to dishes and memories when it is preserved properly. The fifth food, avocados. The avocado, rich, creamy, and packed with heart-healthy fats. Avocados have gained a position in the contemporary kitchen, whether they are sliced for salad, blended into a smoothie, or spread over toast. However, timing is crucial when it comes to storing them. Furthermore, the refrigerator frequently causes more harm than benefit. This is the reality. Never store unripe avocados in the refrigerator. The reason for this is that avocados require ethylene, a natural gas, to ripen, and this process is most effective at room temperature. The ripening process of an avocado is stopped when it is chilled too soon. As a result, the fruit never completely softens, tastes like nothing, and feels like a rock. Without ever being ripe on the exterior, some even remain rubbery or turn black within. What if your avocado is already ripe, though? The refrigerator can assist in that situation, but only temporarily. Perhaps a day or two. If more time passes, the texture will become stringy or watery. The taste may become bland or acidic when the good fats within begin to degrade. Care for cut avocados is considerably more important. The flesh immediately turns dark and mushy when exposed to air when they are opened. Store in an airtight container and dab the cut surface with a little lemon or lime juice to slow this down. That citrus helps keep it looking fresh for a little while longer by preventing oxidation. This advice has been handed down from both kitchen-savvy people and grandmothers. Put your avocado in a paper bag with a banana or apple to ripen it more quickly. These fruits naturally speed up the process by releasing ethylene gas. No refrigerator is needed. That being said, just chill it when it's ready and let it ripen naturally, and just for a short time at that. In this manner, you may savor all of avocado's creamy richness. It's just right, nourishing, and smooth. The sixth food, bananas. One of nature's most basic delights is the banana. They have been a favorite for years because they are sweet, tender, and high in potassium. However, you may be putting yourself in a precarious situation if you put them in the refrigerator to extend their shelf life. Warmth is ideal for banana growth. They are simply constructed that way. Their skin darkens almost instantly when exposed to cold temperatures, such as those found in a refrigerator. You might think, oh no, they're spoiled when you see them become brown or black in a day or two. The odd thing is that they aren't quite ripe on the inside. A banana that seems overripe but tastes undeveloped is the result of the cold stopping the ripening process. It's starchy, hard, and just doesn't work. Scientists refer to the color shift as a chilling damage. The cold causes the cells in bananas to break down, and they never fully recover, even after being removed from the refrigerator. What is the most effective way to store it? Bananas should be kept at room temperature. To minimize bruising and promote equal airflow, hang them from a banana hook if at all possible. Lacking a hook? No issue. If you want them to ripen slowly, simply keep them away from other fruits that produce ethylene, such as apples. Don't put your bananas in the refrigerator if they are already becoming overly ripe. The golden rule is that first peel, then, if desired, slice and freeze for later use. They work well in baking, smoothies, and even porridge. Here's another traditional piece of advice. Perfect banana bread or pancakes can be made at any time if you mash ripe bananas and freeze them in tiny containers. Consider this the next time you reach for the refrigerator. Right there on your counter, let your bananas air, mature, and sweeten the old-fashioned manner. The seventh food, cut the melons a warm day with watermelon, breakfast with cantaloupe, after supper honeydew. Family meals have included melons for many years, but keeping an entire melon in the fridge, you can be losing both taste and nutrients as a result. This is something that most people are unaware of. After being harvested, melons continue to mature, which enhances their sweetness rather than merely changing their texture. However, you halt that process when you place an entire cantaloupe in the refrigerator too soon. Instead of a juicy, tasty fruit, you get something bland, watery, and less fulfilling because the sugar doesn't fully develop. When kept too cold, watermelons in particular lose their bright texture. What was once crisp and delicious turns mushy and gritty as their cells decompose. The same is true for honeydew and cantaloupe. Their inherent sweetness wanes and their texture becomes rubbery. However, taste isn't the only factor. Research indicates that melons that are kept at room temperature have more antioxidants, such as vitamin C and beta-carotene. These nutrients promote healthy aging, strengthen your immune system, and combat inflammation. Don't you think that's a fairly excellent excuse to leave them out on the counter? It's time to put the melon in the refrigerator after you've chopped it. The cut pieces should be carefully covered, either in an airtight container or with plastic wrap. For optimal flavor and food safety, consume them within 3 to 4 days. Don't put the large, lovely melon in the refrigerator right away the next time you bring it home. Allow it to fully ripen on the counter. After that, cut it into slices, chill the pieces, and savor each juicy, nutrient-dense bite. The eighth food, bread. One of the earliest and coziest foods humans have ever encountered is bread. Toast in the morning, a sandwich for lunch, or a warm slice with butter. It's comforting, nourishing, and loaded with memories. However, keeping your bread refrigerated, one habit that can be more detrimental than beneficial, is that one. This is the startling reality. In fact, bread grows stale in the refrigerator more quickly rather than more slowly. It appears like chilly air should preserve it, but in reality, a process known as retrogradation is taking place. At that point, the bread's starch molecules start to crystallize, transforming the once soft slices into crumbly, dry ones. That process is accelerated in the refrigerator, particularly if the bread is cut or exposed to air. What about moisture? Your bread may grow tough and tasteless inside the refrigerator, while the outside may become mushy. Not precisely the type of toast you anticipate having with your Joe in the morning. What ought one to do instead? Simply store the bread in a cold, dry location, such as a pantry or bread box if you want to consume it within a few days. To prevent it from drying out too rapidly, keep it in its original wrapper or in a paper bag with a loose seal. Now, freeze the bread if you have more than you'll consume in time. Bread survives much longer when frozen than when refrigerated. If it isn't already sliced, cut it first so you can remove only what you need. When you're ready, reheat it in the oven or toast it. It will have the flavor of freshly baked goods. For millennia, bread has been a staple of our menus and lives. One slice at a time, we can keep it tender, fresh, and prepared to nourish us if we take a little care in how we store it. Honey, the ninth food. There's more to honey than just sweetness. It's healing, old, and almost timeless. In Egyptian tombs, archaeologists have even discovered pots of honey that are thousands of years old and still perfectly edible. That's honey's magic. However, we disrupt its inherent perfection when we keep it in the refrigerator. Honey crystallizes more quickly in colder temperatures. Most likely you've seen it. It becomes gritty, thick, and occasionally nearly solid. It's considerably more difficult to mix or spread into your tea, but it's still safe to eat. The honey's beautiful floral overtones start to diminish as the texture shifts. However, convenience isn't the only consideration. If the jar's seal isn't airtight, storing honey in the refrigerator adds extra moisture, which might cause fermentation. It's not common, but when there's a better option, why take the chance? Where's the ideal spot for your honey? In the cabinet, exactly. Store it at room temperature, out of direct sunlight and heat, in a firmly sealed container. It only needs that, no gimmicks, no refrigeration. What happens if your honey crystallizes? Do not be concerned, just put the jar in a basin of water that is warm but not boiling. It will revert to its golden liquid state with a little stir. Nature's gift is honey, patient, strong, and pure. It will endure for many years, enhancing our tea, toast, and memories if we treat it with the same deference. Food number 10, olive oil. Let's now take a moment to discuss something that is genuinely valuable in the kitchen: olive oil. It's more than just a component. It's customary, a mainstay that has been handed down through the ages, particularly in Mediterranean civilizations, when meals serve as times for social interaction and food serves as medicine. Olive oil is praised for its potent health benefits, delicious flavor, and silky texture. However, there is a common error that subtly eliminates all of the things we enjoy about it when it comes to storage. Storing it in the fridge, I can now see why people do it. We associate freshness with cold, that it will last longer in the refrigerator. However, same impulse backfires when it comes to olive oil. Olive oil, especially good extra virgin olive oil, starts to harden as it becomes cold. It will appear rotten and become hazy, thick, or even grow waxy white lumps. It becomes more difficult to pour, cook, and savor the oil. Additionally, that recurrent cycle of warming and chilling can gradually alter its flavor over time, even if it melts back at room temperature. However, texture isn't the only factor. Something else is involved, something more subdued. Condensation may develop inside the bottle of olive oil when it is refrigerated. If that tiny bit of moisture gets into the oil, it might actually initiate the spoiling process. Oil and water do not mix nicely, and without you even knowing it, that tiny amount of moisture can encourage microorganisms and reduce the oil's lifespan. And that's not all. 3 natural enemies of olive oil exist: air, light, and heat. Yes, the refrigerator shields it from heat, but when you open the door, it is exposed to light, or like we just talked about, from condensation. Therefore, freezing it won't benefit us in the long run. In fact, we're jeopardizing quality. So where should your olive oil be kept? A cool but not frigid place. It is best to keep the pantry cabinet or cupboard out of direct sunlight and away from the stove. Keeping it in a dark glass bottle or stainless steel container helps protect it from light, although complete darkness is not necessary. Additionally, always ensure the lid is securely fastened to prevent oxygen from leaking in and accelerating oxidation, that is, the cause of rancid oil. Olive oil can last for months, and occasionally even longer if properly stored. It will retain its distinctive scent, its golden green hue, and all of the heart-healthy antioxidants that contribute to its uniqueness. Here's a little reminder from earlier generations. Food is not the only use for olive oil. It has to do with caring. It is applied to parched hands throughout the winter months. On a Sunday afternoon, this is what you pour over warm bread. When someone is ill, you whisk this into soups. It's easy. It is nourishing. Additionally, it gives back more than we know when treated with respect. Thus, let's not conceal it in the refrigerator. Let's make sure it gets the space it needs, in our meals, in our kitchens, in our lives. That's it. These 10 common foods are worthy of a better home than your refrigerator. Each of them, from golden honey to creamy avocados, brings heritage, culture, and care in addition to taste and nutrition. Perhaps it is today's true message. There is more to food than calories and expiration dates. It's about the daily decisions we make to support our families, our comfort, and our well-being. The key is to slow down, pay attention to the little things, and treat even the most basic objects, like a loaf of bread or a garlic bulb, with the same deference that we would something far more fragile. As we age, we begin to understand that the smallest details have the greatest impact. The scent of your father's Sunday morning, the way you cook, the way you remember a recipe your mother used to make, or the way you store your food, these are more than just routines. They are customs. Additionally, they nourish more than just our bodies when we do them carefully. They nourish the soul. Therefore, take a moment to think before you throw that onion in a drawer or put that tomato in the refrigerator. Was this the way things was supposed to be? The knowledge we seek is frequently not found in a scientific laboratory. The stories we were told as children contain it, the manner in which our forebears operated, the actions we took prior to convenience overriding good sense. I'd love to hear from you immediately. What caught you off guard the most among these foods? All these years, have you been storing them incorrectly, or have you developed family tricks that have endured over time? Post them in the space provided below. Because watching videos isn't the only activity in our community, it's about sharing what we've discovered together. Give today's video a thumbs up if you thought it was helpful so that others can see it as well. Additionally, click the subscribe button if you haven't already. We at Elders Insight think it's never too late to become wiser, live a healthy life, and connect with others, to each other, to our houses, to our food. Until then, look after yourself. Additionally, take care of your kitchen. Wisdom resides there.